Good morning. Let's have a little rant. Start off with another few dislikes that I found about China. Every restaurant I've been to seems to be using QR code to order. You have a menu, but mainly the waiter and the waitress tend to push you in the direction of the QR code on the table. So you scan the QR code and the menu comes up on your phone. Now, in my opinion, like you haven't spent enough time on your telephone already. You accumulate even more screen time. Now, for me personally, when I go to a restaurant, I like to interact with a waiter or waitress. But that seems to be getting less and less now because they do push you in the direction of the QR code. Amongst the payments and car parking and supermarkets and what have you, everything is QR code here. Some of them are good, some of them are not good. So I find in the restaurants, I dislike it very much. Back to driving. The more I drive, the more I come to a conclusion that there are absolutely no rules other than traffic lights here. So you've got to be very, very careful when people pull out. Now, Trinity explained to me, if you've made eye contact, that if they see you and you see them, then you acknowledge each other's kind of, with eye contact, who's going to go first. But it's basically who blinks first. And that can be, in my opinion, that can be very dangerous. But that's just the way I'm used to driving. As I say, there's no giveaway as such here. Even if you're coming out of a car park, coming out of a side road, if there's a space, they'll pull in front of you. And yesterday I was coming along, possibly maybe 40 miles an hour, and there was this chap doing a U-turn right in front of me. I sounded my horn, but it was oblivious to him what he had done. So it was fairly pointless on winding the window down like I would in the UK and having a go at him. Now that's another thing. I've seen zero road rage here. I've seen zero arguments, despite the fact that how bad people drive sometimes and pull out in front of you. I have not seen one single argument. I mean, that case was an extreme case that I saw yesterday when I was coming along literally at 40 miles an hour, and he just blindly did a U-turn right in front of me, and I slammed on my brakes. But that was very extreme, but that happens quite a lot. That's another thing. I have seen zero road rage. I've been here 5 weeks now, and we've driven a lot of miles. We've been traveling around, doing a lot of vlogs, traveling a lot in Guangzhou, Shenzhen, in Guizhou itself. We've been traveling a lot, and the only person that wants to do the road rage is me, really. And Trinity has to hold my arm and say, leave it, because one, I can't speak the language. So there's zero point of me winding my window and saying, what the hell are you doing? Because they can't understand what you're saying anyway. So that's, it's kind of calmed my driving down and calmed my temper down a lot, because there is no arguments on the streets. Now, on one of my vlogs, we were just coming out of hospital. The cost of medical care here can be cheap, but it can also be very expensive depending on what you're going in for. Now, when we went in for Clara's medical, because she's required to have a medical prior to entering this nursery, so the school knows if you have any allergies or any medical conditions that you have, rather than you just sign a form and say, no, she's not allergic to anything, and then suddenly she's allergic to peanuts and she can't breathe or whatever. They have a medical record of actually what you're allergic to and various background medical conditions. She had a full medical, which cost £30, and that included her growth chart and everything else, all documented. That took about 3 days for the full medical to come through. Then we took her back for a second examination because she's had this allergy in her eyes, eczema type of allergy around her eyes since birth. Now, when we were in the UK, we waited 2.5 years for a medical examination for appointments at the Royal Free Hospital. 2.5 years. we waited. And then we waited another 4 months for the results to come back for the blood test, which was inconclusive, really. So we took her into the children's hospital. She'd had a full blood work on her that cost £35, and the blood work came back within 2 days, and it just so happens that she's just allergic to dust. Whatever that means, I'm not sure. Maybe we have to get her an astronaut suit, and yeah, Trinity thinks I'm mad, but I don't understand how you can be allergic to dust, but I'm not a medical expert. Now, for my personal visit, because of the my own irresponsibility, I gorged on food that I shouldn't have eaten for the last month. The seafood here is amazing. I love prawns, and if you have gout, you're not supposed to have any shellfish. And had a couple of meals with some really, really good prawns, and you're not supposed to have beef. Now, the meatballs here are amazing, so I just kept eating beef meatballs, and I had a really gorgeous steak the other day, and that just kicked it all off. I was in agony for about a week. Went along to the whole hospital to get maybe a second opinion just in case it wasn't gout, and the medical examination cost me £2. It took me 20 minutes to register because I'm a non-resident in China. It cost me £2 to register at the hospital and get the consultation. I only had to wait 30 minutes. And that wasn't because I was private. I was in the queue with the rest of the residents, but it's just because I'm not a resident here. I have to pay for that service. Now, we waited 30 minutes for me to get seen. I knew it was gout, but just in case it was something other than gout, the doctor recommended I took a blood test. The blood test took 2 hours, £7 it cost us. And the blood test came back, and it confirmed that it was gout. And also in the blood test, it tested my kidneys, my livers, and my diabetic level, which all came back clear, luckily. Just had to move, because back to the personal space issue, there's about 15 tables around here, dotted around, in and around the soft play area. Now, you have the parents that want to be close to the soft play to keep an eye on their child, but you also have this couple that sat next to us that doesn't have children. They're a youngish couple. Decided to sit right next to our table and have a little chat about what they're having for lunch today. But there's 15 empty tables everywhere else, but they decided to sit right next to us. But anyway, as cheap as what we went through with the medical examination and my gout consultation, it can be very expensive, obviously, for other things. But I don't have a personal experience. I've only heard these treatments, but so I'm not in a position to say how much and what. But one thing I must say is that if you don't speak Mandarin and you go to a hospital, you're pretty much stuck, because I needed Trinity to fill in my forms because it was all in Chinese and nobody spoke English. And at the time, on the reception desk, there wasn't actually anyone that could speak my dialect, Cantonese, which was a problem for myself. Now, my Mandarin is extra bad because I speak Cantonese, and I seem to think if I twist my Cantonese a little bit, it will sound Mandarin, which sounds absolutely ridiculous. But I'm starting to learn more and more Mandarin as we go along. but I'm very lazy with language. I just have this comfort zone where I know Trinity's going to be around and she can always translate for me and fill in forms and what have you. But I really must start learning better Mandarin. But I will try my best as we go along. Since I've been here for the first 3 weeks, I made a conscious effort not to watch any news whatsoever. Now, I don't watch any mainstream media news. It's just full of BS. I get all my news from independent journalist channels on YouTube. Now, there is no freedom of speech on the internet because you get demonetized and shut down. And those are the ones that are speaking the truth that get shut down and they demonetize. Now, I watch probably 2 or 3 main channels to get my daily news. If you guys are interested on my political views, which I'm not allowed to say, because if I do air it out there, I'll lose half my audience. But I get my news from the Duran channel, from Alexander and Alex, and Redacted from the US. I find these two very, very informative, and they back up their stories with research and what have you. But anyway, now in the last 2 weeks I came across a couple of articles regarding the US has set up a War Committee Council. Their job is to play war games on the table against China as their job. One of the independent journalists actually put it nicely, saying, Mummy, what do you do for your job? Well, I go to the office and plan how to go to war with China. And this constant battering of China aggression. Now, China has one military base abroad in Djibouti at the request of their government to police the piracy in that region. One, at the request of the Djibouti government. Now, there are 800 US bases around the world currently. I believe, if I have my figures right, there's 200 plus bases surrounding China's coastline. South Korea, Japan, Guam, Philippines, blah, 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 all along the coast of China. And that's to contain China for what? I also saw another article regarding the Australians going into a panic, saying Chinese are going to invade Australia. Australia has 25 million people in a big piece of land. And just use a bit of common sense. Why would China sail all the way to Australia to invade Australia? For what? But that's the news that I picked up here and there, which I thought was quite a fun watch. But I couldn't get my head around it really. But do your research and prove me wrong. Why China wants to invade Australia, and why would they bother? You can actually rent these little puppies.
Let's have a quick walk around and end this video before it gets boring, if not boring already.
Shopping centre.
I've been private messaged by a few that for some reason they get unsubscribed of my channel automatically.
I thought I
and
had to
some
stop
are not getting
in the middle of my
bell
rant
notifications.
to take a
So if you just have a double check,
video of this.
again, I'm just a small channel and I wonder why.
This is on the 5th floor of the shopping centre where we're at the moment. Kind of a floaty, ducky thing that goes round, and another play area. Now the soft play area that Clara's in is £3.60 for the day. You can actually hop out for lunch and come back later. So they charge you by the day, not the session.
Thank you everybody for spending time watching my vlog again, and I hope to catch up with you next time while I spend a little bit of relaxing time with the family and just chill out a bit. And oh, good girl, take the money from the till. Brilliant.
There's known this, you can't take a video and photo of other kids in China because we don't have that problem. Take videos and photos wherever you want, whenever you like. That's probably because it's a communist country and there's no freedom and democracy here.